Hi everyone. I just wanted to show you some general sewing that I have just been working on. Stupidly, I haven't filmed any of the steps in between. I kind of went upstairs to do like one or two of the stages, maybe start just cutting out the pieces for this project, and then 3 hours later I have almost finished it. I thought it was worth showing you anyway. It's basically a version of the envelope budget system. So I've been trying to save some money recently and try and track what I'm actually spending my money on. And I've been using just a normal, like a little filing system for my money because I don't really like the idea of having paper envelopes with cash lying around. It's the kind of thing that I would drop at a supermarket. And I've been doing it for a month and I quite liked it, and I decided it was time probably to sew myself up a more finished version now that I know what categories I like, random thread, what categories I like, what I spend my money on, and how much money I need to put into each pouch. So I'm tending to do mine on a weekly basis at the moment rather than monthly because it's a lot of money to carry around. But here's the envelope so far. So I've gone with a button fastener here, which is going to be very awkward to untie, just because I literally have one hand. There we are. And then that pops open. So obviously because it's felt, it's going to open on its own. This is that 3mm thick felt that you saw me buy in the last little video. And then this is the inside. So I stitched the end of that into like a little pen loop because eventually I want to have a little book to track my finances here. The only mistake that I appear to have made is I intended for the first one to be this, to be food. Because obviously that should be my main outgoing, that's the one that's the most important. But unfortunately what I've done is I've staggered these pouches so that when they all stack up together they still line up, even though some of them are wider than others, like this. And I accidentally sewed the food label onto the shortest pouch. Which was obviously a stupid thing to do because that means it has to go in the centre, and that means that the first one that you see when you open it is the slightly less important pets category. But basically you can see that I've staggered the zips. I've used these tiny little zippers. I don't know if you can tell on the scale there, but this is a little doll's zipper, so that they lay a bit flatter than if you'd use traditional zippers, which are about twice the size. And then I've just made a square pouch, a square rectangular pouch, stitched around the edges, added the zippers top and bottom, and then added labels to the facing edges just by cutting out some calico, stitching a name on it, ironing it onto the fabric with bond web in between, and then stitching over the top with this lovely cross stitch that I've just discovered on my sewing machine. So the categories that I've gone for are pets, with a zipper facing this end, and then next one the zipper's facing the opposite way. So this is household, obviously. Food, which is just general grocery shopping. Eating out, so not spending too much money on takeaways and things like that as well. Luxury items, so things that I just want rather than need. And then the last one is craft, which actually I've not done too badly this month. I've only spent about £20 getting felt for this fabric project and for other bits. So still left to do are, I would like to add a elastic loop, I think, for a book to go into. Actually, it would need to be there, wouldn't it? So probably actually better off putting the elastic loop here. It's a little tiny book that I can track how much I spent from each category in. And then on this side, as a result of that, I want to stitch in some card holders. So probably just one strip of fabric down the middle there that's looped and folded over so that I can then slide a few cards into the individual pockets. I don't want to spend so much money from credit cards, but I do still want to get the most out of points cards and things like that when I'm shopping. So if this is the kind of thing that you'd like a tutorial for, I'm thinking about making the pattern for sale. Please let me know in the comments, because realistically I should have used this one to make the tutorial, but honestly I got completely sucked in after work. So there you go. Pretty proud of it so far. A few little bits I need to change and improve, like rounding off this edge, but otherwise I think that's a good first attempt. Hi all, so my sewing update's likely to be late for the next couple of weeks, purely because I lost a full weekend just to doing fun family things, really. So we had like a second Christmas because all my family weren't able to get together at Christmas time because of work commitments and various other bits and pieces. And then on the following day, the Sunday, I went to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I saw parts 1 and 2, one after another, on the Sunday, which was a pretty intense day. I did it all in one day with a train from where I live, and this is one of the souvenirs that I picked up. I did think about getting like the programs and things like that, but I don't know, I just didn't fancy having something papery. Oh, here comes Hetty to help out. I didn't really fancy having something papery that I was just going to put on a shelf and leave. So I decided to get a Slytherin House crest, and it's a, as far as I can tell, it's not a iron-on patch. Even if it is, I don't really want to do that because I want to be able to use it again in the future if I fancy it. Wasn't sure I was going to put it on. I actually got the dark Slytherin patch first. I don't really want to give you any spoilers and explain what that is. And then got the Slytherin pin, and I went back at halfway through the last play and actually switched them, so I ended up with the normal Slytherin stitch-on patch. And the reason is because I was using this backpack at the time. This is what I carried all my London bits and pieces in, and I thought, wouldn't it be a nice colour patch to stitch onto here to make it kind of an unexpected little tribute. I don't really have a denim top or anything like that that I would put patches on, but I thought that this would be something that people wouldn't really understand unless they were an avid Harry Potter fan. So yeah, I'm just stitching this on now, and you're probably not going to be able to see what I'm doing just because everything here is quite dark, but basically all I'm doing is going around the edging here with a little bit of a whip stitch, or almost like a ladder stitch like I use with all of my sewn creatures, just to attach it on. And that means that you won't be able to see the thread, it'll be securely attached, but if I want to remove it in the future and put it onto something else, I'll be able to do that. Whereas if I'd used an iron-on like a Bonder web, I would find it much harder to remove cleanly and leave the original bag in good condition. So here's the backpack all done. It's a struggle for me to work in places where the light is really good for filming as well as good for sewing, and it has all the warmth and the comforts that I kind of want when I'm sewing, like TV and things like that. You know, proximity to a kettle and tea. So I've brought the bag upstairs to my bedroom to show you, and I can see that the lighting is so much better in here. So I don't really want to be sewing and working in my room because I like it to be kind of a sanctuary for sleep, but I'm seeing the benefits of actually filming in this light rather than the downstairs room, which is painted a darker colour so it doesn't show off colours quite as well. But anyway, I thought I would show you the finished product of the backpack. So it's actually quite a cheap backpack. I think I got it from .com gift shop, something like that. It was either them or Sass and Bell, and it was pretty darn cheap. I bought it as being a good kind of I'm going shopping and I don't want to carry a million shopping bags type bag. I've just stuffed it with another backpack, a much more expensive backpack from the Cambridge Satchel Company right now, just to hold its shape. The only thing that annoys me is that the background on this is obviously navy, and then the straps on it are black, and I don't really wear much black as a rule. Sometimes I make something in black, or I'll buy something thinking maybe now I am a serious black wearing person, but it just doesn't suit me. It makes me look a little bit dead. So anyway, here is the patch now sewn on. You can see the stitching if I get close enough. It's not the world's neatest job, but it doesn't really need to be. It just needs to be something that holds the patch on. I think it works quite well. I think it's unexpected. I think a lot of people will look at it and think, you know, that's just a brand tag. It's not anything in particular. Maybe this backpack is made by this particular snaky company. And I think the people that have been to see the play or that know the Harry Potter houses and spot the colours will understand what it actually is. So I'm pretty pleased with it. And of course I can remove it later on if I want to and swap it for something else. I don't know if you guys have any particular house that you have a real affinity for. I've made a Harry Potter dollhouse box before, and I would really quite like to make a Professor Umbridge inspired office because I really like her aesthetic. I really like the whole evil but cat plates. Speaking of cat, here's Hetty come to join in. Yeah, I really like the evil plus cat plates idea. I actually made a cat plate dress to go to the event at the British Library in, which I should probably show off as well. So I feel like making a little room box designed to look like her office would be quite a nice addition as well. So let me know if you have any preferences, if you would rather see more Gryffindor type stuff, or if you're quite happy for me to throw out a bit of evil Slytherin every now and again. It is the house that I got sorted into. I do like it. I don't agree with J.K. Rowling's portrayal of it, the idea that everyone in the house needed to be locked in the dungeon during the Battle of Hogwarts. Don't like that idea at all. But I do think I have a lot of the qualities that are shown in the house, and I think, you know, we can do flowery and sweet Slytherin as well as evil and cunning Slytherin, and be a bit more snapey rather than Professor Umbridge. But I am now waffling. Here is the bag. Here is my cat who's getting herself involved and telling me that I have gone on for far too long about Harry Potter. Well, I couldn't resist. Here is the aforementioned Professor Umbridge dress. It's actually made from a duvet that I got in the sale at Asda for about, I think it was about £8 for a king-size duvet. So I've got an awful lot of this fabric left. I'm not really sure how many items that you can make with cat face plates on them before you look a little bit insane. But it was such a bargain that I decided to buy it and make something for the British Library event. Again, I like a little inside joke, and I don't mind people that don't know me looking at me and thinking I must be a bit mad. And in London, to be honest, you can get away with it a lot more. So this is what the print looks like. You can see there's like lots of individual little cats in hats and with glasses on and all sorts of bits and pieces. Had to take a lot of care lining up the plates on the front so that they didn't end up in unfortunate places. This one was my favourite cat because I used to have a white cat growing up. His name was Sherbet. So she's on the front shoulder. And then I was really proud of the back of this particular dress because it has an invisible zipper, and it was one of my first invisible zippers. I think I've done about 2, and I'm so proud of this pattern matching. So if you don't make clothes, I don't know if you can see there, but the individual size of this dress are 2 different bits of fabric, and then you have to get the lines to match up, and they are almost perfect all the way down the zipper. The only place where there's a slight issue is this one, and I could be nitpicky and unpick it and put it back together, but the reality is it is on the back of the dress. And look at the face, look how well I did on that. Very, very proud. The only idiotic thing that I did is I did the same thing down the sides of the skirt. I don't know if I can find the seam. Matched it up perfectly, but the reality is I probably could have cut a strip wide enough for the skirt and not done it in the separate pieces because it was a king-size duvet, so that was a bit daft. But other than that, I'm really, really pleased with the design. It has the sashings made out of the stripes that were on the inside of the duvet, and then I actually made a matching head bow, but I lost that during the event. Not the end of the world because it wasn't hard to make. But there is my Professor Umbridge dress, just to show you how that one looked.